such a simple game as hitting the ball on the bat and some bases, but yet it inspires competition, it inspires character building, I would say too. Just people learn more about themselves when they have to stay focused on a goal. It's a way for fathers and sons to bond. I know you've heard it many times before, but to this day, even when I can't talk to my father about anything, we can still talk about baseball, and we do quite often.
I got a little boy. I love taking the little bat out and ball and just trying to teach him and watching him swing and the gleam in his eye when he makes contact.
Growing up playing baseball, it's always, take the family to the ballpark, watch a baseball game. Easy game to follow, easy game to relate to. A lot of the players seem to be a lot personable in baseball, I think, as opposed to the NBA. Sometimes you get egos. I don't think you see that as much in baseball.
Baseball is a slow, tedious game that you have to love to enjoy. But there's still millions of people who love it, which is really neat.
You see kids in the street in New York just playing. You don't need much, you don't need equipment. You can have a stick, you can have a ball, you can get a game going. On the farm, first base was a corn cob, second base was a tree.
The whole atmosphere of, if they've never been to a game, a large high school game or even a major league game, just the atmosphere in general is amazing to experience.
I think baseball is America's sport because you always see it on TV. You got your superstars, and kids want to grow up. They want to grow up and be like those guys.
I remember going to my grandpa Freese's house growing up, and he had all the sporting news is there, and we look at the baseball stats, back in the 70s as kids growing up, and just the tradition passed down from generation to generation.
I love the fans all around the country. People come to me and they'll have a hat on or a team I didn't play. Oh, sorry, I got the Yankee hat on. What's wrong with that? I think it's great that you're a fan of the game.
Norway's tradition, I guess growing up, it just goes back so far, and there's so many people that had such an important impact on what this town's all about. You had your Hal Troskys, Boddickers, the Vanskoys. Obviously, there's stories from all of them. For me, it really started with my brother. 10 years older, so when he was a senior, I was in kindergarten, and that's just where I really started paying attention to what was going on.
Little boys grew up seeing their older brothers playing or their uncles playing or heard stories of their fathers and grandfathers playing. I think that plays a big role in how a little boy wants to follow in whoever's footsteps.
It's just something that kind of wraps itself around you as you're growing up. You don't know anything different. You grow up, all your friends, your family members, your father, your grandfather played ball. Everybody that played ball in one form or another. And it just kind of takes hold of you, and you learn it, and before you know it, you're teaching to somebody else, and it just kind of stays with you the rest of your life.
I think the tradition started with Coach Hutchinson and the ball players he had through the late 60s and early 70s. And when my dad, Coach Vanskoy, took over, I think my dad just took the tradition and made it that much stronger. And with the number of ball players, obviously, that my dad has influenced.
You hear all the stories from Hal Troskey hitting the ball out to the tracks to players that did go on to play college ball, some that went to play pro ball, and so the tradition's second to none.
Older guys help the younger guys out. They see you do something, a mistake, and they try to help you because they want to continue with the tradition long after they were gone.
A certain amount of rules that a player would follow. Most of them were never spoken to you, but you always knew where the line was drawn just by following the older kids ahead of you as examples and knowing what to do and what not to do. For example, never wear your uniform outside of the baseball diamond, never want to be seen on Main Street with it on, and things like that were never spoken to you, but you just knew what was right and what was wrong.
Growing up, you watched all the players in the past, and you want to try to they look upon you and you want to live up to their standards.
Just something in the water, I guess. And then, some players, Bruce Kim, Mike Boddicker, they started putting it on the national stage. And, that gave interest to more people and put us on the map even more. Then, of course, all of us kids wanted to, what do you want to do when you grow up? Be a Major League Baseball player.
Mike Boddicker had
Good grief, I don't know what his win-loss record was. He had 1,122 strikeouts in his high school career.
How about Mike Boddicker, ladies and
Yeah, was
gentlemen?
a tremendous third baseman.
Through the help of friends and great coaches, Jim Vanskoy and like Don Stump, who was my Little League coach, who knew baseball in and out. You know, they gave me the knowledge and the help to reach my goal.
Mike Boddicker used to live across the street from where I grew up, and I used to take care of his lawn and stuff while he was gone in the summertime playing ball, and in the wintertime once in a while he'd ask me to go up to the school up here and catch him to get ready to go back to spring training. So that's pretty neat for a young kid to be able to play catch and be around a big leaguer.
From a town with a population of just 586, a high school with only 101 students, these players grew up watching their older brothers, relatives, and friends win state titles.
Norway baseball's tradition, I think, is strong as any tradition that I know of. I mean, I've been a part of other sports programs, but I mean, that was the whole thing about Norway, is just baseball. That's what the town centered around. You play a Thursday night game, the next day the whole talk around town was how the baseball game went. Everybody in the town, that's all they wanted to do, is go watch a baseball game. What time's your game? When you're playing, and it just was amazing having so much support from so many different people.
We were taught to do things the right way and to act with class. You're representing the town of Norway, the school of Norway, your mom, your dad, family, friends, community, and that's how we were taught.
We are honored and proud to present this trophy to Norway High School and to all the people in Norway that have supported us through thick and thin.
It was small, and it was a tight community. Baseball was the biggest sport. It wasn't hard to get yourself fired up for something like that.
It's about people. It's about family, friends, neighbors, all coming together.
You earned a reputation. Through the season, you play a lot of the big schools, and they're out to get you because you're Norway, you're a small school, you've won a lot of championships, and it comes a lot of pride with that.
The tradition is doing things the right way. Knowing that you probably will fail, because that's what baseball is, a game of failure. You're going to fail. Even the best hitters fail 7 out of 10 times. But to do it the right way and do it with all your heart.
Even growing up playing in the Little League system and the Pony League, every time we went out to play for Norway, you just always thought you were going to win.
The two things we love to do was work on the farm and play ball, and the best of both worlds here.
The expectations of a person who played baseball for Norway, I think were to be fundamentally sound more than anything else. I personally never felt a whole lot of pressure to win. I think that was more pressure that you put on yourself just from competition in general.
You had one goal when you came into spring. That was to win state championship. That was the only goal that was on your mind.
The biggest expectation, and this is something that we noticed with the older guys growing up, was just do things the right way. You know, basically play hard and have fun playing, and everything else, the wins and losses, would take care of themselves.
Growing up as a kid, I didn't know any other way. I just assumed that we were going to win every game, and a lot of that had to do with that Norway uniform and the people in the town, the fans, the players that played with, the coaches. I'm growing up from Little League through high school.
We weren't always the most talented team, but you know, we worked hard, we knew the fundamentals, and we played the game, and we played the game the way it was supposed to be played.
There was high expectations because of all the history and all the players before you to live up to their reputation, to keep that era around Norway baseball.
Putting on that jersey with Norway across your chest, it was just a great feeling because you knew that everybody throughout the town
was behind you. You played smart because you knew the fundamentals, because they were taught to you from when you could walk, you know, when you could start swinging a bat, start throwing a ball. But you played hard, you played smart, and you're out there to win.
How you feeling, Brent?
I'm good. That was a lucky hit.
Coach Vansko, I was always intimidated of him. I mean, he had the dark glasses. When I was with him, he was between the ages 6 and 11. So, I mean, I never said a word to him. I was always, you know, I'd only speak when spoken to.
He already owns you, so we need to get this next batter out. Don't you bullshit me now.
I'll get him, Coach.
He just carried himself in that way. You knew he had that presence about him. And when we showed up in opposing park, we just, you could just feel the respect for him.
He worked with me on pitching when I was in middle school, I remember. And he let me come to some practices when he was still coaching here. And he always intimidated me terribly.
For me, it was a little bit more different from a lot of people. My dad always told me, Coach Vansko always told me, he was harder on me, obviously, because I'm his kid.
Did you want to pitch?
You want to play the kids, and if you need me, I'm here.
Well, the thing is, I could tell these guys to pitch 2 innings, but
You know, as I got older and grew into, you know, a little bit better ball player, he explained it to me as, yes, I'm harder on you as a ball player and as a, you know, as my son, but you also have a lot more ability than some of these other folks, and I'm just trying to get you to the next level.
Had all the pitchers lined up doing a drill with no baseball, not throwing a ball. And then Aaron got on the mound and threw a ball in, about hit Jim. And Jim just told him, get going. I'll tell you when to stop running.
All my years, I had never heard him yell, I don't think. But he'd get upset, he'd coach you, he'd explain what you did wrong. But one of my favorite things I remember, and I have respect for him, I was standing in left field one day, and I had a routine fly ball come to me, and I dropped it. He takes 2 steps out the dugout, looks out to left field, and I swear I could hear him go, Bradley, 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 Bradley. Soft as can be. I know he didn't say it loud, but I could hear it all the way out there. I'm like, oh.
I think it's just the mystique of him, the respect he gained and earned without even having to say anything. It's just his look, just his presence brought out the best out of you.
He was a great guy. I mean, he demanded a lot out of us, and you know, some people might not get along with him, but I mean, if you give 110% effort every time, he was a great person to get along with.
what a wonderful day for a baseball game. Sun's shining, and it's probably not going to rain, and we're going to go out and kick somebody's ass. How's that sound? Playing for Jim Vanskoy was a great experience for me. You knew growing up, being a little boy, seeing him coaching the older kids, and you knew his style, and you knew what he was all about before you even stepped on the field as a freshman.
I would describe Coach Vansko as very professional, straightforward. He cared about the game, he cared about his kids. He wanted us to be successful, and he did it in a very business-like way.
That last pitch, how'd you know?
I started to hit it
When?
in my spare time.
But you don't have any spare time?
I made some. They deserve it.
The thing I really respect the most about him is he didn't try to do too much or take too much credit for what was going on. He let us play. If we needed correcting, you know, he'd pull us aside. You know, he didn't show you up on the field.
You always knew where you stood. He was up front. And most importantly, you knew what was expected. Being coached by Jim Vansko, I guess it was always one of my dreams. I said, having a brother that was so much older, that's all I watched. And I sat and I just learned. And I mean, I told my brother for years, I said, that's gonna be the best day of my life when I can play for Jim Vansko.
Playing for Coach Vansko, I look at it now and probably then as an honor. He was the man. Still to this day, I have nothing but the utmost respect for him.
As far as baseball goes, there's probably not anyone smarter around this area.
Coach Vanskoy was probably one of the best and greatest coaches I've ever been around, just from the pure fact of you knew what he expected as a coach and you did it. And sometimes with coaches, sometimes you're not totally sure what's expected of you and what's not expected. And he was one of the most honest people you ever meet. I think that had a lot to do with our success.
I think his biggest gift is he knew how to handle each player. You know, that's something I've tried to learn from him as a coach. You know, everybody's different. You can't treat everybody the same. And the guys with attitudes, you got to kick them in the butt. I might have been one of those guys. So I really respect what he did for me and how he handled our team as a whole.
All right, let's go, infield. Now, bring it home.
You could just see it in the other team's eyes that when we were taking infield, it was so sharp, so crisp, and Jim just, he could hit fungos like nobody else. He was good at it, and he'd hit the high flies so high and the ground ball so hard. You know, the guys would feel them, they were used to it, and the other team, you could just see they were sitting there in amazement of how well we took infield and how quick it was.
The infield drill before every game, I think that we had games won before the game even started. There was balls flying all over the place, you know, and you hardly ever saw a ball being kicked around or thrown away. And you could look over at the other dugout and you'd see teams, you could just see their faces, you know. These guys are drilled, they know what they're doing, they know how to play the game.
The Norway infield drill was incorporated after I left. And that was something Jim come up with to intimidate the opposing teams. When I was there, we pretty much intimidated everybody as soon as we got to the field. They knew about us, and they knew what we were going to do to them, even the big schools.
When we're taking infield and stuff, if you would miss a ground ball or something, he would hit one twice as fast at you, and he would keep hitting them at you. He knows what it takes to win. He's very intelligent, and pitching and defense, especially at the high school level, is so important, and he realized that, and that's why we took infield all the time.
He was the only coach that I ever had that apologized for not hitting a perfect infield. But I think that goes to show how important infield and the intimidation factor was to him.
Right here, boys. Under 9 minutes, wasn't it?
8:24. Sammy, shag for me.
Boys. Infield.
Coach. Oh, and Fungo. Come on, buddy. Want me to catch? No, Steve's got it.
Don't I get a shot? What we need is outfielders now, all right? Go ahead and take center.
Way to do it, Coach.
Thank you. Mitch, remember I need your bat in the lineup, so don't hang your head. Let's go. Sammy, shagging balls. That a boy?
Yes, sir, Coach.
Let's go. Let's get one.
When Coach Stock took over the next year, I think it was a very comfortable situation for us seniors. There was a concern at the time when Coach Vanskoy announced he wasn't going to be back with who they were going to hire, and there was a time when we weren't sure that Coach Stock was even going to get the job. When we found out he got the job, it was very relaxing, and we had a very, very good player-coach relationship with him.
He really came in and didn't try and reinvent the wheel. He brought the same exact system in. He knew that that was the system we knew. Didn't try and change anything, and I think that made it easier on all of us. You know, we just went out and played the game how we knew how to play it, and he was all for that.
He was really easy to talk to. Great guy. One of the nicest guys I ever met.
I do remember him being very, very enthusiastic, very excited to be at Norway, and I think you could kind of just feel the enthusiasm that he had, and he was really excited to be kind of the understudy of Mr. Vanskoy.
He's a great guy to go talk to if you had a problem. I mean, very much a player's coach, just one of the guys, pretty much. I mean, he had confidence in us, never got down on us. He knew there was a lot of pressure on us, but he stayed with us.
I know you guys realize this, but I'm going to say it anyway. This is the last regular season game in this school's history. Let's make it count. Bring it in.
He knew baseball and he loved the Norway tradition, and that's what he wanted to carry on. And the pressure he probably had being that final coach, I wouldn't want to have in a million years.
You know, he knew everything was in place, knew the players, and just kind of stepped right in and, you know, didn't miss a stride.
5-0. We're in the hole. Let's get going. Pick it up. Let's get serious now. Let's go.
Get a couple back.
Coach Stock was very much a player's coach. He came in, let the Norway players play Norway baseball. He didn't try to change anything.
The final year, he did a great job with the team. You know, that had to be a difficult situation for him, stepping in, you know, last year and all the tradition and having to fill in Jim's shoes. And I didn't understand back at the time how much pressure that had to be for him, but he obviously stepped up to the plate and did a great job with the team.
Our 91 team, we put high expectations on ourselves, and it was always our expectation from the first pitch of practice, that whatever year it was, is we're going to win the state title.
Just remember the camaraderie with the team we had in the last season, my final season. Taking out, you know, we had these 1977 and 78 cars that didn't run real well and drag raced them down the Watkins Highway here. Couldn't get them going over 50 mile an hour. And just things like that off the field that I think really helped us that last year. We were a pretty tight group.
I did expect us to win it all that year, just because we had the talent to do it. We knew how to do it. It was just a matter of fact of us going out and doing it.
That's what Norway baseball was supposed to do. We were supposed to win. And, you know, we never expected anything less of ourselves to go out there and win championships.
Every player who's ever worn a Norway uniform is out there with you today. And think about this. No other Iowa high school baseball dynasty has ever won a state championship in their final season. So ask yourself one question. How do you want to be remembered?
Final game, best game I've ever been a part of in my baseball career. I mean, there's nothing that even comes close to it.
Folks, this could be it for the Norway Tigers. Bottom of the 7th, trailing Gillett Grove South Clay 4-3. A dynasty of 19 state championships in the past 24 years could be about to end.
The way it all happened was just so amazing. I can remember sitting in the dugout and head down in my lap and, you know, hands crossed, just praying that we could figure something out.
Lots of ups and downs in that last game. Emotional highs and lows. I mean, at one point you just thought that was it. It was going to end like this. I mean, it was sad. You could see, you could almost feel it in the team. You thought they were down.
Oh, Sammy, what are you going to do?
I'm going to get on base. I remember being nervous about that last game. I remember we were doing a lot of praying, you know. We thought we were done. We were down to our last strike. I remember the other team sitting on the edge of the dugout ready to run out.
To be honest with you, that was the first time that I was really nervous that year. And when you're down and you know it's the last game that Norway High School will play, and we were down by a run, that was a little stressful situation.
There's so many different thoughts going through your head. You know, I thought we were going to lose. I couldn't believe it was going to end like that. And Kyle steps up and hits that big hit.
I think there's a little bit of pressure coming down to the end, you know, when we were down the last couple innings and looked like the game was over. But somehow, you know, we got a couple clutch hits there and then, you know, forced it into extra innings.
Folks, this is it. Can you imagine the weight on that young man's shoulders?
Come on, Akers, be a hero!
We never got too concerned about ever losing, or at least I didn't. I always thought that we'd come back and we'd win somehow, some way.
After we won, I was just pretty much numb. I just overwhelmed with emotion. I almost passed out.
It was destiny. I mean, it really was. But it was. I mean, I played in a lot of baseball games, and nothing will ever compare to that game.
Everybody on the team, we just had that knack of knowing when our opportunity was and how to seize that opportunity.
It's a perfect ending to a great program, that's for sure.